And welcome to Alzheimer Speaks Radio. I'm your host, Lori LeBay, and I'm so excited that you're joining us today. We are going to have a fascinating conversation as usual as we learn from people all around the world at all ages and stages of life. Stay tuned as we shift our dementia care from crisis to comfort.
All right, here we go. What you think about, you will bring about.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Alzheimer Speaks Radio. I am sorry, but we're having a little technical difficulties, and my microphone went out and blew a fuse and the whole 9 yards, and it won't let me in as the host because it says I'm here. So quality probably won't be as good sound-wise. But we are going to do open mic today, and we encourage everybody to go ahead and call in. That number is 323-870-4602. My co-host today is Kathy Braxton with Improv for Caregivers. But before we start our discussion, I always like to do some shout-outs. So first, I want to shout out to the Mark Arneson Band, who does our beautiful opening music. It's called Clarion Call, which you can download on any of your favorite music apps. Also, if you're new to Alzheimer Speaks Radio, we're about sound information, not just sound bites. We are listened to by people all around the world, and everyone is welcomed. So if you are living with dementia or MCI, or you're thinking maybe you're having symptoms, maybe you're a family or a friend of a loved one dealing with this disease, maybe you're a business professional, researcher, an advocate, even children are doing a lot in this movement and in this space. So please feel free to go ahead and call right in, and we'll pull you in as soon as we can. I want to give a shout out to the Adaptive Equipment and Caregiving Corner. They are just absolutely wonderful, and we're going to hear from them in just a little bit as they do many assessments of pieces of equipment that a lot of people don't know are out there, and they're going to be talking about the foot bar walker. But I also want to mention that on April 7th and 8th, the Winona Act on Alzheimer's group and the city of Winona and others are coming together for a dementia-friendly Community Week, and I will be previewing and doing a screening of the film A Timeless Love, and then we'll be doing a talk back on those 2 days. And to register, you can call 507-454-5212. That's 507-454-5212. And then, of course, because people are always looking for information, especially during COVID, for support, I do facilitate two groups. One is Arthur's Memory Cafe, in which we meet the second and fourth Wednesday of each month. So that will be tomorrow at 1 o'clock Central Time. Anybody is welcome to join that. And then also the last Wednesday of the month, I work with Brookdale North Oaks and the Shoreview Parks and Rec Center, and we do a Caregiver Connect program at 10 a.m., and that we're going to go virtual, hopefully just one last month. We're going to hear from the foot bar walker, and then we've got several people on the phone, and I want to introduce you to Kathy, and we will get our show started.
Introducing the life-changing foot bar walker.
I'm Peggy from Danville, Kentucky, and I'm 91 years old. The foot bar walker revolutionized my care of George. The saving that I made from having to put him in a nursing home came to about $192,000. The foot bar walker opens and closes just like a standard walker. The only thing that is different is the top bar and the foot bar. Does that ever make a difference?
Does someone you love use a walker? Do they struggle to get up from a seated position? Are you a caregiver dealing with physical pain and stress as you help your patient? The foot bar walker was designed to assist not only the patient, but also the caregiver. Patients have more control standing up, and no lifting from the caregiver is required. See how it works at thefootbarwalker.com. That's thefootbarwalker.com. Peggy, would you recommend the foot bar walker?
Do I ever? I would not be in the health that I'm in today at this age had it not been for the foot bar walker.
Well, we are back, and Kathy, I want to welcome you to the show today. Thank you so much for being my sidekick here and co-hosting with me. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. Thank you for having me.
Well, I know that you were kind of under the gun with the last-minute meeting, so I appreciate you getting here when you can. It seems like February 22nd of 2022 is just an interesting day. I've had all kinds of goofy stuff happen for me today. Just one thing after another. So I guess my power going out and my microphone not working and doing this by my cell phone shouldn't surprise me at all. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience and tell them a little bit about what you do?
Sure. I've been in the aging industry over 25 years, and the majority of the work that I do is directly with residents and their families who are living with dementia. I've worked in all different types of fields, from supportive living in Illinois, lots of nursing home and long-term care facilities, in-home health care. So right now, and what I've been doing for the last 7 or 8 years is creating a program that now I call Improv for Caregivers, where I work with families to teach them how to better communicate with the person that they love who is living with dementia, to help them create more moments of joy and connection rather than frustration. And I use the rules of improv to help them do that, so that it is an easier understanding of communication. We can use it with everybody that we know. It is something that all levels of families can use, children all the way up to 99-year-olds. So it becomes much more of a cohesive communication package, and it helps those adult caregivers, the adult children in the families, bring together the generations, the children in their lives with the older adult that they're caring for, so that everybody's working on the same page. So my specialty is communication, crisis intervention, and really just helping people find creative ways to help the person that they're loving and taking care of have more moments of joy and not feel in shame.
Fantastic. So hopefully you'll feel like you are in good hands between Kathy and I. My mom had dementia for 30 years, and that was a big life-changing experience for me and got me to step into this space. I'm going to go to a couple of our callers while we've got them on the line here. So I'm going to put live here a number 68746874. You are live and on the air. You want to introduce yourself, please?
Hey, Lori. It's PK Bevel. I can't believe that you called on me right away.
Well, it's wonderful to hear from you. How are you doing? Why don't you tell us what you guys are up to?
Oh, you are so kind to ask, and thank you for this opportunity to talk about things. I've had the great honor of being on Lori's show a couple of times, as well as my colleague, Melora Jackson. I'm the CEO Emeritus of Second Wind Dreams. I'm founder. This is our 25th year. So happy anniversary, us. And we have been providing services to those living with dementia and making dreams come true for people living in long-term care all these years. Our flagship program is the Virtual Dementia Tour, which is a simulation of what it might be like to have dementia. Everyone's dementia journey is different, but we studied how the brain dies and came up with ways that we can simulate what's happening in the brain of people with dementia. So But what I was here to talk, and it's research-based, evidence-based, and which means that we have very tight controls over the way the virtual dementia tour is provided. And we continue to research facets of the virtual dementia tour because we want the simulation to be exact, as close approximation to what people living with dementia in the middle stage are dealing with. But what I wanted to talk to you about today, Laurie, is a lot of family caregivers aren't aware that we actually have a virtual dementia tour just for them, where they can actually do the virtual dementia tour in their own home and see how the world looks to their loved one living with dementia and come up with ways and strategies that they can serve them a little more pathically by that simulation. We can do it one of two ways. We can either provide the kit to the families, and they can use it as many times as they want with as many family members as they want, or they can have one of our clinical people come into their home and actually provide the VDT for as many family members as needed. So that was what I wanted to talk about today, Laurie, and I thank you so much for calling on me right away.
Well, I'm thrilled that you called in because I think it is really important for families to know this. You were the first one I think I shared this stage with on a dementia tour, and I had taken it I think two or three times prior to actually meeting you in person, and I remember telling you that the third time I took it, even though I knew exactly what was coming at me, I was so disoriented. I left my purse in the like checkout room, after you guys kind of go through everything, and I went back to my hotel room and didn't realize till a good hour later that I didn't have my purse, and I was so disoriented I left it there. And so if you've taken these virtual tours once, you can take them again, and you will get something different out of them, I think, every single time, because you're going to be in a different space and mindset each and every time with that.
You're making an excellent point. Yeah, we usually recommend people go through it about every 9 months, and our research is showing that the first time is shock and awe. The second time is a bit of, I thought I'd know this stuff, but I really don't. And then the third time you begin to build in your brain ways that you can make things better for the person that you're caring for. So thank you for saying that, Laurie. We sure do love having you a part of what we do and getting out there and speaking. I really believe, and I realize that as the creator of the Virtual Dementia Tour, any idiot wouldn't say this, but I really do believe that unless you've taken a minute to walk in their shoes, however you do it, we now do visual imagery through our website, where if a person doesn't want to take the Virtual Dementia Tour, they can go through some of our guided imagery of being with a person with dementia and what's going through their head. So we continue to try to come up with ways that we can level that playing field a little bit. And until we do that, since you or I, even though you and I both care for family members with dementia, we can't know where they're living until, we try to figure out ways to simulate that.
Mm-hmm. Now, one of the questions that people might have on their minds is with the virtual dementia tour that families can take in their own home, is there a cost to that to them, and how is that structured?
It is structured that they go to our website, obviously, and look up the family edition and of the VDT, and it will guide you through what would be best for you, whether that would be having a clinical staff member come into their home and scheduling that along with some of their other family members, or whether it would be better for them to just purchase the Virtual Dementia Tour Family Edition and do it themselves, and can use it, like I said, many, many times. And we encourage, obviously, that to happen. So without being brazen here, just go to our website at Second Wind, spell out the word secondwind.org, O-R-G, and search for the Family Edition. And if you have trouble coming up with it, please don't hesitate. Even though I'm in an emeritus role now, I'm pretty active in what's going on day to day at Second Wind. Don't hesitate to email me at pk@secondwind, spell out secondwind.org. That's pk@secondwind.org, and we'll figure out the best way to serve you.
Okay, well, that sounds wonderful. And again, that idea of taking it every 9 months, because it's easy to forget, what is going on. I'm going to just pull Kathy in and see if she has any questions or comments for you.
I've loved the dementia tours in the past. I've loved all the sensitivity type trainings that there is available. I think that they are very impactful. I think families really need to take an initiative to do that. I like when I have the opportunity to do that as well within facilities. I think oftentimes the daily grind of care often can numb somebody from tapping into their empathy when it comes to understanding what a person is experiencing physically within their own bodies and how that's being expressed through their verbalizations or the way in which they act. So I think they're truly important. One of the great experiences I had to tap onto that was traveling to Taiwan, where they do a fantastic job of educating everybody in the community, school teachers, staff within long-term care facilities, even bus drivers. They have something, and I have one of these in America called the Pang Zoo suit, and it's an aging suit that Taiwanese use. Yeah, and it's a fantastic way to really simulate how it feels, not necessarily to have dementia, but certainly how it feels to be older. And when you add that dementia piece, it even just it hits the nail on the head even stronger. But I think a lot of us, we do feel those aches and pains oftentimes as we are aging every day, but we often forget how impactful our aging bodies are, and then when you add on the aging brain, how difficult life can be and how much more empathic we all need to be in order to make their lives as joyous as possible.
It's interesting that you mentioned some comments, and one of them is that the VDT, we believe, that because it's researched and evidence-based, so it's not, there are some knockoffs out there that worry us a little bit, but we have it for TSA. We also have it for retail. We have it for funeral homes. We have it for I'm with you. It needs to be, the simulation needs to be everywhere. Now, the reason that I made the decision not to include the age suit with the virtual dementia tour is I really want the, quote, normal human being to experience the confusion pure and simple. I want them to incorporate that pure and simple. We have researched both ways, and we find the outcomes are a little bit stronger from the cognitive loss standpoint when we isolate that variable. But boy, those age suits are powerful, very powerful.
Yeah. So I think that's agree. It's very important. I think that's true. Oftentimes you couple an aging suit with the feelings of what it's like to have dementia, and that's almost overwhelming for anyone who's neurotypical and in middle age. Absolutely.
Exactly. Well, PK, I really appreciate you calling in so much. And again, to our listeners out there, feel free to pick up the phone and dial in. It's 323-870-4602. That's 323-870-4602. And again, you can go to secondwind.org. Again, that's all spelled out, secondwind.org, or email PK, and that is P as in Paul, K as in King, at secondwind.org if you have any questions. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time today, PK.
Anytime, Lori.
Okay. I am going to go to our next caller, and I think this is Karen Love with DAA. So we will see. Karen, is this you on the line that I have?
Yes, it is. Thank you. Yes. Hi. Happy Tuesday.
Yes. Well, why don't you start out with telling our audience what DAA is and what your role is with them?
Certainly. Well, Dementia Action Alliance celebrated its 25th anniversary in July, which is kind of hard to believe. We are a national advocacy and educational nonprofit organization to create a better world in which to live with dementia, basically. And we do that in lots of different ways, different programs. And we kind of built on your shoulders, Lori, because you were one of the first out there that had created a place for people, a community for people to come together on radio that were living with dementia and connect and share their experiences and perspectives. So we built a little bit on from the wonderful platform that you started. I am the co-founder and the current CEO of the organization.
Okay. Now, I thought I saw an email come out the other day about a conference that you have coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. Well, we had pledged starting in 2017 to host a conference every other year, biannually. And COVID hit us in 2021, so we weren't able to do one then, but we decided we would take a leap of faith and hope that COVID was going to be enough in the rear view that we would be able to have a conference this year. So we are going to meet somewhat in the middle of the United States in Indianapolis, September 29th through the 21st. And for those of you who may not know or have been to Indianapolis, it's a super wonderful city to navigate. The airport is about 12 minutes from the hotel and conference center where we'll be. And the downtown area where we are and everything else is did a complete redesign a couple of years ago when they hosted the Super Bowl. So it is walkable and lots of wonderful things. So we hope people can come in September. And as you noted, we just noticed that our request for proposals for anyone who would like to present at the conference just went live. So we hope people will be interested. One of the things that is probably about our conference is the amount of people living with dementia and care partners that are actively involved in the conference and included as speakers and participants. And from our perspective, they are experts in the lived condition. So there'll be all kinds of speakers. We have 6 different categories: technology, beneficial technology, the arts, changing the status quo within local communities, states, governmental communities. How do we optimize well-being? What else? Adaptive technologies. And I think I'm missing one. Life-affirming care partnering practices. So,
wonderful.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun-filled adventure with all kinds of diverse individuals that gather together, which is what makes it unique.
Are you looking for any certain type of speaker on these topics?
Well, one of those 6 categories, so you can choose, and they all have to be what will score a high presentation is we were really looking for how people are enabling, empowering, and engaging individuals living with dementia to live their best life possible, affirming attitudes and practices that are life-affirming, that support full inclusion, and provision of accommodation. So it can be in any setting, whether it's a care partner at home caring for someone, or it could be adult day, home care. They have been, so many of them now are becoming very creative and knowledgeable about supporting individuals living at home with dementia. Memory care units, nursing homes, I mean, the settings can be, we have a lot of researchers that are doing some innovative technology, robotics and things. So as I say, it's very diverse, and the site, we're going to be at it's a renovated train station that is spectacular. You know, think of pastel-colored stained glass throughout, marble floors. I mean, it is absolutely beautiful, and because it was a train station, it's designed for, traffic flow. So we would have these beautiful, spacious rooms, so much history. I mean, you just feel, like you're somewhere special. So, yeah, this isn't where you would come and rely on a lot of PowerPoints to give a presentation. This is much more interactive, talking and being able to share, how things have changed, what you're doing that moves the needle. Mm-hmm. Does that help?
Yeah, well, I wanted to, get into, in terms of when I was asking type of speaker, are you looking at research-based? Are you looking at family? Are you looking for people with dementia? Is everybody welcome to submit? That's kind of the angle I was looking at when I asked that question.
This isn't one type of speaker that we're looking for, because what makes it so powerful is that you have people from all different walks and experiences of life, but the commonality is that they're all trying to, enhance the lived experience, whether it's people themselves who are living with dementia, and maybe sharing what strategies, what workarounds they have found to be really effective, care partners, researchers, what are cities, what are state governments. There's been some amazing work at state government level. How are you changing the status quo and impacting change?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Kathy, do you have any questions at all for Karen? Let's see. Well, let's try this again. Okay, why don't you try that again?
Okay, just wanted to let Karen know she'll be getting some proposals from me.
Good. Wonderful.
I'm just north of Indianapolis, and optimizing well-being for people living with dementia is what I do. It's one of your categories. I got onto your website as you were chatting, and I'm really excited to hopefully be a part of that. I love what you're providing for people.
Well, thank you. Yes, and that's just when you were talking, you could feel your excitement and enthusiasm about what you do. And, I think that's one of the hallmarks is the people who come. It's not just, standing up there and, sort of reciting what it is they do. It's this really deep, level of interest and commitment to the work they're doing. So we have a fairly simple process to submit your proposal. Unfortunately, I say fairly simple, but some of the conference attendees will need continuing education credits. So we do have to ask for objectives and, drill down just a little bit. And that's the reason why, so that we have that information for getting approval to offer the continuing education credits. But if you go on the Dementia Action Alliance website, which is daanow.org, you'll see it's right up front. Press for proposal.
Oh, are you still there, Karen? I think we lost her, so I'm not sure if she might have hit a mute button or not. So, but again, you can go to DAA now, and that is a .org, and you can find out information on how to register if you want to present, and I would imagine that there is information on the conference there as well that you can find out. That is September 19th through the 21st. And Karen, are you back yet? I wonder, nope, we lost her, I guess. It says her mic is on, but we're not hearing anything, so I apologize for that. But you can easily go to their site. DAA does a lot for enhancing people's lives who are living with dementia. Their team of experts is fantastic, and you can read probably, I would imagine they have on here some of the testimonials from their past conferences and the work that they do. So again, go to daanow.org for more information on that. And it looks like the line got disconnected with Karen altogether there. So wait, I think she just called back in. So let me see here. Karen, are you back?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you just went mute, so I didn't know if maybe you hit a button on your phone because it said you were live at this end. So I was just kind of filling in some air and, again, going over your site and giving people information there. I said you probably had some testimonials from your other conferences, which I know were just rave reviews and how much people learned and liked going. Now, this is for, a variety of people to attend as well. So you've got basically are open to all kinds of different people presenting, but this is for people with dementia. This is for family and business professionals and advocates, researchers alike, correct?
Yes, exactly. And that's part of what makes it so compelling is that, sometimes you go to conferences within your discipline or field, and, that's who you sit and, spend time with. But this is such a wonderful blend and potpourri of people that it really has changed things. For example, I know of 3 families. Somebody came the first year, 2017, and they had a small service animal that was trained for their dementia symptoms. And by the next conference 2 years later, there were 3 more service dogs because people had said, oh, I never even thought about that. We've heard all kinds of researchers say they went to the conference, they sat and talked with people living with symptoms and care partners and, heard from firsthand and got all kinds of different ideas, for research that needed to be done, where the gaps were in things. So we think when our 2019 conference, we had PBS filming, and then Revolutionizing Dementia Care came out. We believe they're going to be filming again, this time for they're doing a documentary on the lives of people living with dementia. And so they often will sit in some of the sessions and the filmmakers and, hear people and then say, oh, I'd love to get them on film. And so they actually do recording on site. Anybody who has any talent, we have fun at a talent show. This year we're adding a golf tournament, which is more fun than competitive. But, it is, as you mentioned earlier, we hear people say it's really life-changing. So thank you for the opportunity, and thank you, Kathy, for all the good things that you do out there. I mean, you are unsung heroes.
Well, thank you. I had a question. I was just looking at your registration fee schedule, and it looks like there's an early bird, pricing that people can take advantage of. It looks like the conference is normally $595, and for the full conference, you can get it for $495 through July, it looks like. And but there was one thing I didn't know what it meant, and it said volunteering 1 day, conference 1 day, please enter code in space provided below, and that one was $50. And so the other ones seemed like I could make sense out of what they meant, but I wasn't sure what that one was about. Can you explain that?
So, yeah, in past years, we've had people who, maybe couldn't afford the conference registration, and, they said, I'll volunteer a day, and then they could have a day, basically free. The $50 is just to cover food. We do give beverages, snacks, serve everybody wonderful buffet hot lunches. But, I don't know I didn't realize until we started doing conferences that a gallon of coffee through hotel pricing runs about $120.
Yeah.
You can imagine how many gallons of coffee, even hot water. Hot water is priced at the same amount, so if you want to make tea, for example. So anyhow, food costs are very expensive, and a lot of it goes to that. So if somebody would like to volunteer, they have to be approved. You can't just sign up, which is why they need a code. And, for example, if we get too many, there would be a cutoff. And we want people who, have some background so that they could be helpful. We have scholarships for people and care partners living with dementia, and that will open March 15th. And we are hoping to be able to scholarship 30 to 40 individuals living with dementia and care partners. So it all will depend on how successful we are with our fundraising for that.
Sure. Well, that's wonderful. Those are some nice options for people. Kathy, any other questions that you have for Karen while we've got her on the line?
I just wanted to ask, do you have any, are you planning on having any breakout sessions where caregivers can go to a specific training and those living with dementia are in with another group, maybe a support group or some kind of group where, the speaker or the information that they're getting is applicable to them? Are you looking at something like that too?
Well, we will have 6 concurrent sessions that would be going on a number of times each day, as well as some general sessions. But we don't segregate and divide up, type of people who come to a session, which is what makes the sessions pretty rich, is that you have people living with dementia, care partners in the sessions that are sharing their experiences and talking. So whether it's being in the audience or, being a speaker, they're mixed throughout. And we came to that after having lots of discussions with people living with dementia and care partners about how they wanted us, what would be the best arrangement, and that was their choice, is not to have anything divided. In fact, our conference planning team, just last week, we have a monthly meeting, and that point was raised again, and so we went out and did a couple of focus groups to make sure things hadn't changed since 2017. And we talked to about 50 individuals, and they all said, no, we don't want it separate. We want it blended.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. Very nice.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for calling in and letting us know about the conference coming up. Again, that is September 29th through the 31st, and hopefully COVID stays away. Same for the Second Winds and their virtual dementia tours, that people can get back in live and meeting, because I know everyone's dying to do that. And tired of the Zoom and things. So thank you so much, Karen.
For sure. And thanks for having us and, again, for all the good things you're doing. Take good care. Bye-bye.
Wonderful. Thank you. Kathy, I wanted to ask you if there was any particular topic that came to mind for you that you were interested in covering today.
Well, it just seems like your theme today is interaction. You know, I'm hearing that when the TK Bevel called in, and Karen's just now talking about how it's not about just, you know, we're sitting here preaching, but we're actually interacting and engaging the participants in any realm. And I really like that idea. I think that we need to, I like that we're starting to get away from standing behind a podium and talking about the PowerPoint that's right behind us, but rather really getting engaged with the people that want to learn and get more out of it. Because when we're engaged, when we're laughing, when we're leaning forward in our seats because we're mesmerized by what someone else might be saying, because it's not just reading from a PowerPoint, we're going to remember that information more. We're going to remember it better. And, you know, for me with improv, although it's not necessarily based in laughter, it certainly does induce a lot of laughter. And for me, that's incredibly important, because when we can couple a concept with an emotion of joy, it has been proven that you're more likely to retain that information. And I think that's incredibly important with people who are caregivers. We want them to retain as much of this information as possible so they can take it home and implement it right away.
Oh, I totally agree with you on that. And I think, you know, it's the moments of joy, but I also think it's the moments of pain that we retain as well. And it's getting people to understand how to flip that switch, how to process that pain or loss or grief or sadness, you know, anger, whatever, to get, you know, kind of recalibrated. And sometimes, to me anyways, that was learning to laugh at the situation and that we're in and how to move through it, not laughing at somebody, but, you know, you laugh at goofy things that happen with your friends. And, you know, laughter is just such an important piece of life. I think sometimes people feel they can't laugh when dementia enters the room. And,
I laugh all day long with the residents that I take care of, and we laugh together, you know, and that's I think, when you're bringing a key moment of joy to them is when you bond as friends and laugh together. I had a resident come down the hallway the other day and with just a huge smile on her face with so much joy of what she'd accomplished. And what she had done is taken all of the puzzle pieces she was able to find and put them in a tube sock. And she was thrilled with what she had accomplished. And although the concept is funny, she had such a smile on her face, I smiled with her and just let her know what a creative way to carry around a puzzle. Because boxes are cumbersome and you can't hold all those pieces. And she was able to put together, I want to take this whole thing with me. How can I do that? And she was proud of what she accomplished with that smile on her face. And I didn't laugh at her. I smiled and laughed with her with what she had figured out, and we just had this great moment of joy. And it's never laughing at, it's always laughing with, and I think that's what we are always seeking in regards, no matter how old we are, no matter what disease we have, we are always seeking people to just have moments of joy and laughter with us. I think we forget how powerful that emotion is, the endorphins that it produces. And I think that there's a lot of concepts floating around with family members that there's fear, a lot of fear. I don't know how to interact. I don't know how to communicate. I'm afraid of how to respond. And I think for me, one of the biggest things we can hit in regards to aging suits and dementia tours and all of these things is these are human beings having human emotions just like you have every single day. And the most important thing is to join them there where they are. Let them feel sad if they're sad. Let them have happiness and joy if they're happy and joyful. But to just, you know, be a human with a human. You know, just find that equal footing with somebody and have those moments. And I think as we start to build moments with someone, what we end up doing is we end up building trust. And that will then not backfire, but the opposite, really create a benefit for both parties, that now you've created this place where they can trust you, come to you with their concerns, sadness, whatever it might be. And that's a great feeling. It's a wonderful feeling to feel that you're trusted enough that someone will come to you.
Yeah, I totally agree. And again, it's not laughing at, it's just, you know, and I can visualize her with her sock with all her puzzle pieces, and just, you're happy because she's happy, because she's so proud of that,
right.
You know, and the whole thing with, you know, families, feeling fearful, you know, that's a learned behavior, guys. We've been taught to be fearful. And, you know, I think of even like when, you know, having children and stuff like that, we learn when they're babies to adapt. We learn to pay closer attention to their nonverbals. And it's like we've unlearned that as people age. Yeah. And yet all of that stuff is still taking place in our conversations, in our relationships. And I think it's important for us to pay even closer attention when someone's not able to communicate the way they used to. Because, you know, our eyes, our mouth, our gestures, you know, just the way we sit or stand or walk, all of those things are telling us something if we slow down and pay attention.
Yep, and that's what it is. We have to slow down and pay attention and not think that the answer is going to be just in the verbalizations. Exactly.
I did want to mention here, I got an email this morning just as a reminder that the Alzheimer's American Foundation is having a webinar tomorrow, and it's on creating a dementia-friendly home. And it looks like it's within an apartment, and it's part 1. But you can still register, and it's free. And all you have to do is go to ALZ and then FDN.org, ALZFDN for foundation.org to register. But it looks really, really interesting. And, you know, talking about living safely and comfortably and with ease, and all of those things I think are critical to all of us there. So I just wanted to do a reminder on that. Do you have any events coming up yourself at all, Kathy?
I'm going to be in your neck of the woods in April with that. We are going to be rolling out some new information, website information that they are putting out. So they're doing their conference in Minnesota the first week of April. I'm going to be in New York in November, and then a couple different places in between during the summertime. I'm going to be doing some conferences myself, rolling some things out with CEII, Continuing Education of Illinois. And really what I'm doing right now is just taking what I put together, which is using concepts of improv and being in the moment with a person and joining them where they are and putting it to the test and seeing if it truly does work. And so far it has worked. One of the great successes I've had this week, actually I had a resident, you know, in a facility, obviously, and I'm in a locked unit, currently working in a locked unit, a secured unit, let's say. You know, every room in a secured unit is that person's room, essentially. If you think about it, we encourage people to consider long-term care as their new home. And we say that you're at your home, this is your new home, this is where you're going to live. And yet we constantly believe that we're going to be able to walk people or talk people, certainly persons with dementia, out of not going into other people's rooms, but only their own room. And that's, you know, face it, probably impossible to do. A, you have the memory impairment of them even remembering where their own room is. And B, every room in our own homes is a room that we're free to go into. So why would that change? So one of the things I notice is, obviously, I'm sure that anybody who lives in long-term care, things go missing, right? And in a secured unit, they typically show back up. It just depends on if we were able to crawl under somebody's bed or open the right drawer to find it. And one of the conversations I've been having with families that's really important for them to, try to implement is, don't bring valuables in, because that just breaks my heart when I hear that you're missing mom's engagement ring or the bracelet that she got from Poland. Try to bring replicas, try to copy pictures. If you have something that's incredibly valuable to you that helps you remember mom or dad, yes, it's fantastic to have something like that as a replica where they're living, but be honest and understanding of the fact that it may walk off. It may travel with another person because they find it fascinating. And, again, it's just resetting that agenda that, we are all living in this section of our home together, and people are sharing items and borrowing and looking and interested in, and things will return back to someone's room eventually. I had a resident yesterday who was convinced that her neighbor's watch was her watch, and she had it on her wrist and refused to take it off. Different staff members had asked her to take it off, and she refused to take it off. And so I found another watch. We have an area in the secured unit that's kind of a boutique. So there's tons of jewelry and things people can either rummage through, look through, organize, try on. So I went to that cabinet and found another watch. I wrapped it up with another piece of jewelry and a Twinkie, and I provided it to the resident, and I said, this was a Valentine's gift your daughter forgot to give to you. And she was just joyous in thinking that she was going to open up a present. She opened it up. She looked at the watch. She said, this is beautiful. I said, let's try it on and see if it fits. Let's take this watch off so we can make sure this one fits right. Slipped the old watch into my pocket, and away we went. She was thrilled. She felt loved. She had new bling, and I was able to return the watch. So it's just learning to be creative with how to get items returned back to the original owner, but knowing this is going to be an ongoing occurrence.
No, that's a great story. And I know there might be some families that say, well, I don't want you lying to my parent. That present wasn't from me. What do you say to them?
I guess I would say, I never try to lie. I certainly, and I almost want to say bend the truth, but I just think instead of lying, I'm just finding another way to say the same thing. So, for example, if a resident of mine comes up to me, I need to call my mom. I really want to go home. I need my mom to come pick me up. I will repeat that back to them, but I'll just exchange some words. And I'll say, so it sounds like you really miss your family. So I'm not lying. I'm just exchanging a word that still meets that need of what they're expressing. What I would probably explain to the family is, if it upsets you that I claimed this was a gift from you, I can understand that. I'll go about it a different route next time. I'll claim it was a gift from me, if it upsets you that much. But I'd like you to know that she was very, very happy to know that you think about her, and I know you think about her all the time. So it was just my way of letting her know you're in her heart and you're in her mind all the time.
And I think it comes down to two people understanding the need for comfort. You're trying to make sure that she's in a good space instead of ripping that other watch off her wrist and going, that's not yours, and scolding. You're trying to do it in a respectful way that keeps her mood calm and happy. And, I always say to families, isn't that how you'd want to be treated?
Absolutely.
Isn't that what's really important at this point?
Right. By trying to take the watch from her and then trying to convince her that it isn't hers, we're bringing up so many emotions that are just going to set her off the rest of the day. We're going to put her in shame, making her feel as though she did something wrong. We'll put her in anger because she may feel that we're stealing from her. So, each one of those emotions are things we don't really want to take on the rest of the day, and we certainly don't want to see that person have to experience. So is there just another route? And, that exchanging of one item to another is a great route. The other one is making that person feel purposeful. I asked my husband last night, what would you do? I said, if you saw a resident wearing a watch that wasn't theirs. And I'm so proud that he's taken all of my trading, because he said, I was proud, he said, I would have said, wow, that is the most fascinating watch. I would love to make sure that battery is still working for you. That is like a beautiful watch. Can I just go and replace the battery? I'm like, good shot. That was a good try. I got to give you points for effort there, because his goal was never to take away, never to make her feel in shame or feel judged or feel, she did something wrong, but rather to acknowledge, that she owned something that was very special.
Exactly.
Kind of taking advantage of the fact that dementia does have a beauty in that memory impairment, that if we approach them properly, they remember the emotion we leave them with and not necessarily the action or the words that we said. And so she's going to remember that we told her she has something valuable and beautiful, and that she's valuable and beautiful. She's going to remember that later, not necessarily the watch itself.
Exactly. Well, I can't believe our hour has just blown by. Why don't you give people your website so that they can check out more of what you do, because you offer such great services. And Kathy writes just an amazing blog and articles. If you have an opportunity to go to her training, you will not be disappointed. So why don't you go ahead and give them your contact info?
Sure. So it's improv, IMPROV, the number 4, caregivers @gmail.com. It's very simple, and on there you'll see all the different types of services I provide, and I was providing complimentary services during the height of COVID, when families were really sheltering in place with a loved one stuck at home, unable to go anywhere, even get to a doctor's appointment. And I'm still providing services like that today, and I definitely work on a sliding scale and assist people with financial needs and so on, because this hasn't gone away. We are still lingering from all of these side effects, which is awful. Social side effects of COVID. So I want to be understanding of that, but everybody needs a chance to be able to vent, get out what they're concerned about, and then get some guidance. So improv for caregivers @gmail.com. No, that's my email. It's the same thing. Improv for caregivers.com. That's my website. There we go.
Wonderful. And for me, you can check me out on alzheimerspeaks.com. Hopefully in this next month we'll get our new site launched, which I can't wait for. Or check out Dementia Maps. If we didn't have any callers today, I was going to talk about all the great events that are listed there. There's meditative movement, gentle yoga, activity professionals, free online support group, lots of different things out there. And I know for myself, I've got to get quite a few more things listed on here. But go ahead and check that out. There's also a blog there with some wonderful information. Holman Stead did an article with 9 tips of keeping someone living safely at home. And they're just short little videos within this one blog post in particular. And then, of course, we've got the resource directory where you can look up over 150 different categories. So please check that out. If you have a service, product, or tool and you'd like to be listed in there, we'd love to have you join us. And what else? With our radio show, everything is archived. So don't think that you've missed out on anything. We've been doing this since, I think, 2011. So lots and lots of shows to listen to and more coming up. Usually do them a couple of times a week. So, maybe you can be our next guest. We're starting to book now, I want to say is it April or May? Right now we're actually, it's going into May and June. So reach out to me if you are interested. Upcoming here, we are going to be having Mods Awards talking mid-month. They are going to be opening up their awards again. We are going to have Sean Geeham with us with the Memorank product, which is really cool. It's all kinds of different activities to engage. Author Christine Iggy, who wrote A Rose for Grandma. She's just fascinating. And then on Thursday, we're going to have some researchers on with us. So full schedule. And then on March 16th, we're going to have Kevin Driscoll on again. He's going to be doing a show. He's a musical ventriloquist. So he'll be doing something for St. Patty's Day there. So check it all out. We are thrilled to have you follow us. Please like, click, and share, and we'll talk soon. Thanks again, Kathy, for joining us today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
It's time to rethink, renew, and reimagine retirement. Hey everybody, Jared Sebesta here, host of Retire Repurposed. Now this podcast is about the non-financial parts of retirement, which many times can be even more challenging than the financial. We believe retirement is not the end, rather the beginning of what could be the most impactful, purposeful, and fulfilling season of a person's life. So don't retire, become repurposed. To listen now, search Retire Repurposed on your favorite podcast platform, Senior Resource, or Life Audio.